You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Now, this spring, a team working under Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, produced a plan for an aggressive, coordinated national COVID-19 testing plan that was supposed to have brought the pandemic under control. After assembling a team that came up with this plan, Kushner then decided, okay, we're just going to scrap it. Now, today on Capitol Hill, you, of course, had all of the drama on Capitol Hill. You were dealing with Dr. Anthony Fauci testifying, and then Jim Jordan was his, usual making an ass out of himself. And so just listen to some of the back and forth that was going on in this hearing. Go ahead, y'all.
Do protests increase the spread of the virus?
Do protests increase the spread of the virus? I think I can make a general statement.
Well, 500,000 protesters on June 6th alone. Yeah. I'm just asking, that number of people, does it increase the spread of the virus?
Crowding together, particularly when you're not wearing a mask, contributes to the spread of the virus.
Should we limit the protesting?
I'm not sure what you mean. How do we say limit the protesting?
Should government limit the protesting?
I don't think that's relevant to...
Well, you just said if it increases the spread of the virus. I'm just asking, should we limit it?
Well, I'm not in a position to determine what the government can do in a forceful way.
Well, you make all kinds of recommendations. You make comments on dating, on baseball, on everything you can imagine. I'm just asking you, just said that protests increase the spread. I'm just asking you, should we try to limit the protests?
No, I think I would leave that to people who have more of a position to do that. I can tell you...
Government stopping people from going to church, Dr. Fauci?
Yeah.
Last week in the Calvary Chapel case, 5 liberals on the Supreme Court said it was okay for Nevada to limit church services. Justice Gorsuch said it best. He said there's no world in which the Constitution permits Nevada to favor Caesar's Palace over Calvary Chapel. I'm just asking, is there a world where the Constitution says you can favor one First Amendment liberty, protesting, over another, practicing your faith?
I'm not favoring anybody over anybody. I'm just making a statement that's a broad statement that avoid crowds of any type, no matter where you are, because that leads to the acquisition and transmission. And I don't judge one crowd versus another crowd. When you're in a crowd, particularly if you're not wearing a mask, that induces the spread.
It's a simple question, doctor. Should we limit the protests? Government is obviously limiting people going to church. And look, there's been no violence that I can see at church. I haven't seen people during a church service go out and harm police officers or burn buildings. But we know that. I mean, for 63 days.
Rob, you're from Ohio. There's nothing like it. Jim Jordan's one of the biggest asses on Capitol Hill. Here's what's interesting about Jim Jordan's question: should government limit protests? Government actually can't limit protests. The reason Fauci is making the statement is that actually people are assembling on their own. What government does, what government can do, like for instance, when government says we're closing the beaches, okay, government actually can't say, no, we're taking tickets. There are only going to be 50 people at this protest. That's really what Fauci was saying. Fauci was saying, see, Jordan wanted him to say no protest. That's what he said. He said, I'm saying no mass groups.
No, I mean, he made it clear. And Jim Jordan is he's an asshole. I don't know, he's a lot of things, but he shouldn't be in office. And you would point out to me, he is from Ohio. I don't claim him, though. And some people do. He got elected somehow. I don't know. But he is trying to set up this false narrative. He's trying to get his base say they're trying to take away your right to go to church while they go out there and protest for crazy things like making sure black people's lives matter and don't get killed. And they're trying to rile up their base and set up like the government is trying to stop you from exercising your right, but letting those people exercise their right. We know what they're doing. And, we have to make sure people get out, vote, and end not only Trump, but Trumpism, which stands for this, which stands for dividing people along race, that says our lives doesn't matter. That's, I'm sure you talked about this. The current president occupying the White House said he wants to delay the election. They want to just make up new rules. That's what they want to do.
Lauren, again, you're sitting here and I'm looking at all these conservatives on social media. Oh, Fauci, he wouldn't say the words. He wouldn't say the words. The man said there should not be mass gathering of people anywhere because that is helping to spread the disease.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say, right? We're sitting here with 152,000 Americans dead in a pandemic. We have some of the worst rates of infection and death on the planet. Anthony Fauci has been a doctor his entire life, obviously worked on the AIDS crisis, obviously a renowned physician. And unfortunately, as part of his job, he has to sit and listen to stupid, inane questions by idiots that get elected to Congress from people who are dumb enough to vote for them. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to watch. It's particularly embarrassing and dangerous when we have, over 1 million people infected and over 152,000 dead and counting. And we don't know when that count ends. And so it's shameful, really. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than Jim Jordan and his idiot friends. It's just stupid. The fact that, you want to reroute the narrative, you want to make a YouTube tape for yourself, for your constituents to look at, or for you to put on your website, and that has become the reason that you sit in Congress. That has become the reason that you are questioning a physician that's trying to save lives in this country and waste everybody's time, waste that physician's time, waste precious time off the clock as people are dying. It doesn't get any more embarrassing. It doesn't get any more stupid. I do think we're probably going to see some sort of a wave election on November 3rd, because at some point, people have had enough. And when you have 40 million people who filed for unemployment and this many people dead,
right.
Maybe perhaps this is the moment. One could only hope so, because I don't know what else can happen to convince some of these people to stop voting for these idiots to come into Congress and sit and ask dumbass questions.
So hold on. So Derek, I'm about to show another idiot. This is really funny. So this guy, Blaine.
Why are these people idiots and Democrats not?
No, because no, I'm about to wait, because I'm about to explain to you. So here's a guy, Representative Blaine Luetkemeyer, whatever it is. He's a farmer. He later owned a bank and worked as an insurance agent. And so Fauci, who's a doctor, they're talking about hydroxychloroquine. Listen to this exchange.
Things you made a comment a while ago with regards to hydroxychloroquine, and I have an article here that quotes the Henry Ford Health System, who did an extensive study on hydroxychloroquine, and they say that it significantly reduces the death rate of COVID patients. The study was highly analyzed by peer-reviewed, unlike many other studies, and quoting the executive officer said, as doctors and scientists, we look at the data for insight, and the data here is clear. There was a benefit to using the drug as a treatment for sick and hospitalized patients. And in talking with a lot of older doctors who have been around a while, and I trust their judgment and their use of hydroxychloroquine, they say that the initial studies didn't really use zinc with it, and they say that zinc is an enabler to be able to help hydroxychloroquine actually do its job of going after and reducing deaths in patients. Had a long conversation with a doctor earlier in the week, and he said, yes, as long as zinc is there, it really definitely does work. Without it, it's minimally effective. Would you like to comment on that?
Thank you for that opportunity to comment. The Henry Ford Hospital study that was published was a non-controlled retrospective cohort study that was confounded by a number of issues, including the fact that many of the people who were receiving hydroxychloroquine were also receiving corticosteroids, which we know from another study gives a clear benefit in reducing deaths with advanced disease. So that study is a flawed study, and I think anyone who examines it carefully is that it is not a randomized placebo-controlled trial.
It's peer-reviewed.
It doesn't matter. You can peer review something that's a bad study, but the fact is it is not a randomized placebo-controlled trial. The point that I think is important, because we all want to keep an open mind, any and all of the randomized placebo-controlled trials, which is the gold standard of determining if something is effective, none of them had shown any efficacy for hydroxychloroquine.
Derek, he's like, but it's peer-reviewed.
Well, first of all, I'm baffled and don't understand at what point, when in history, have peer reviews not been taken seriously.
Because the point. No, hold on. You said when? The point that Fauci was stating is.
The second thing I want to ask is.
Hold on. You asked the first one.
Sure
let's answer it.
Sure
hold on. You asked the first one. Hold on. Wait. You asked the first one. Can we answer the first one before you go to the second one?
No, I'm not finished.
No, wait. Hold on. No. You said.
And I said second. Let me finish.
Hold up. We're gonna answer the first one, and then you can ask the second one. So to answer,
that's how I want to do it.
Well, that's how I want to do it. Derek, that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna answer one question. Derek. It's like when I have two questions. I ask the first one, get an answer to it, then I ask the second one. Well, right. No, but that's actually how hosts do it. So here's the deal. So no. So you asked, no. Of course we're gonna do it my way. So you asked, how is it a peer review? So here's it. No. I'm gonna bring all three of you in. You asked peer review.
No, you asked me a question, I was gonna answer the question.
Derek, Fauci answered it. He said just because it's.
Didn't.
Hold on. This is the deal. This is just real simple. I'm gonna play again Fauci's answer. I want you to listen. No, I want you to listen to it. Hold up. You asked, when do we not pay attention to peer review? Fauci answered it. Folks, press play. Press play, folks.
That's Fauci.
Press play.
For that opportunity to comment. The Henry Ford Hospital study that was published was a non-controlled retrospective cohort study that was confounded by a number of issues, including the fact that many of the people who were receiving hydroxychloroquine were also receiving corticosteroids, which we know from another study gives a clear benefit in reducing deaths with advanced disease. So that study is a flawed study, and I think anyone who examines it carefully is that it is not a randomized placebo-controlled trial.
It says peer-reviewed.
It doesn't matter. You can peer review something that's a bad study, but the fact is it is not a randomized placebo-controlled.
Okay, so Derek, he just said you can.
If you let me finish.
He can say you can peer review a bad study. That answers your question.
Next thing I was going to say, if I can ever finish on your show.
Go ahead.
Everybody on this panel has, didn't agree with their doctor and we got a second opinion. Why the hell does Dr. Fauci got to be the end all to be all? We can get a second opinion because there are other doctors who disagree with Dr. Fauci. And they have PhDs just like him, and they're not wrong for disagreeing with Dr. Fauci.
I got a question for you.
I'm not wrong for disagreeing with what y'all have to say.
Actually, if we're stating facts and you're not stating facts, then you could be wrong. But Rob, here's the deal. Rob, here's the deal. This is the person who is head of the what? NIH. This is the person who. Well, of course you don't care, but this is the person. This is the person who. No, he's just not just a doctor. There's like he's not that. Rob, he's just not that crazy woman down in Texas who believed in demon sperm and demon DNA. No, and so no, it's actually it's not my opinion. It's my opinion, but also if I hold up Fauci and the crazy sister in Texas, I'm probably not going to listen to the crazy sister in Texas who says there is demon sperm. Rob, go ahead. Rob, go ahead. Rob is talking.
Not much of a different opinion when it comes to this. There are things that we know, and unfortunately, the right has become an exercise in stupidity. Like, who can be dumbest the fastest? We're arguing science. We're arguing that.
Rob is talking. Rob is talking. Finish your point, then I'll go to another guest. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're arguing if the Earth spins. We're arguing if the Earth is flat. Like they're arguing facts. It's not about saying, Dr. Fauci is the end all be all. Dr. Fauci is talking about how science works, and what Republicans are trying to do is pretend like, just like you do with climate change, like, oh, that doesn't exist and that's just made up. No, these are facts. Like 99% of doctors agree, and people that are looking at the facts and reasoning, not trying to make a president look not bad because he's a fool. And because Dr. Fauci is doing his job and you have an incompetent White House, these people are doing everything possible to deflect and blame things on Dr. Fauci because you have an incompetent person in the White House. Like, we need to just follow science. We could have saved a lot more people had we not followed science.
One second, I'm bringing Lauren in. Lauren, this is the thing. Lauren, this is the thing for me that is quite interesting. So when you hear Fauci talk about controlled, when you hear him talk about placebo, he's talking about how doctors and scientists actually properly assess drugs. He's laying out protocol.
But there are
Excuse me, the member of Congress, Lauren, he's like, yeah, but it's peer review. And he's like, yeah, but they didn't follow the traditional protocols that you go through. Lauren, go ahead.
Yeah, so last I checked, Anthony Fauci is an immunologist. He's a doctor, went to medical school. Last I checked, Jim Jordan's a wrestling coach. Now, if you want to argue whether or not today is Friday, that's fine. You want to argue whether or not today is, the day in July, that's fine. But if we stick to facts, I think I'm going to trust a doctor that has like a medical degree before any of these members of Congress, to the exclusion of some of the doctors in Congress who are very smart. But, we've watched Rand Paul, who's a physician as well, ask some of the dumbest questions of Anthony Fauci in committee. I mean, at some point, you have to get serious when, like I said, 150,000 people are dead. This is not a situation, this is an unprecedented situation with people dying by the tens of thousands. And we've got members of Congress that want to play games in a hearing with the top physician on this issue so that they can make a little video for themselves to turn on their base for the election. Like I said, it's shameful, it's embarrassing, and I think that the Republican Party is going to pay a huge price this November. And that's why you see things like the Lincoln Project, because half the party has figured out we can't continue to be this stupid in public. And hopefully that bears some fruit on Election Day. This is why you got the president trying to steal the election with his nonsense, because he knows it's coming. And all the polls and all the indicators indicate that, in fact, we are going to have a realignment in November.
All right. So I do want, I'm going to let Derek respond. I want to play this soundbite from Congressman Jim Clyburn from today's hearing before I do so. Go.
Can you help us understand why? While Europe has largely contained the virus, the United States has seen a continued rise in new cases.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The answer to that question is really somewhat complex, but I'll try maybe to very briefly go through what I believe are at least some of the factors that were involved. If you look at what happened in Europe when they shut down or locked down or went to shelter in place, however you want to describe it, they really did it to the tune of about 95+% of the country did that. When you actually look at what we did, even though we shut down, even though it created a great deal of difficulty, we really functionally shut down only about 50% in the sense of the totality of the country, which means when we reached our peak, as they did, they came down almost to a low baseline, as you've shown very clearly. But take a look at what happened to our baseline. We came up, down, and then we plateaued at about 20,000 cases a day. So we started off with a very difficult baseline of transmission that was going on at the time that we tried to open up the country. And when we opened up the country, what we saw, particularly most recently in the southern states, was an increase of cases to 20, 30, 40, 50, and a couple of weeks ago it was up to 70,000 per day, and now it's down between 50 and 60. And the reasons for that are complex. There were some states that did it very well, and there are some states that did not. And when I say did not, I mean, we put out, as Ranking Member Scalise mentioned, the guidelines of a gateway, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Some were followed very carefully and some were not.
Derek, the reason I thought that was important because every time we hear Donald Trump talk, he's like, oh, we're doing great. We're doing great, but way better than Europe. Oh, we have tested more. We're doing more. So why are we still seeing 60 and 70,000 cases? That's leadership. That's leadership. That's leadership. And unfortunately, because you asked earlier, why is this political? Because part of the problem is that where we're seeing the skyrocketing cases in states led by Republican governors who are refusing to listen to the doctors.
I don't know if that's the case in every state, Roland. Different. They look. They laid it out. Initially, the states were like, oh, we don't want the federal government involved. We want to do it ourselves. So it's like, okay, we'll come up with a plan.
Actually, that's not what the states...
I'll never get to finish my statement.
But that's a factually incorrect statement.
What is incorrect?
The states actually said, we're looking for the federal government to lead. And then when Donald Trump said, hey, this y'all problem, they were like, well, damn, we got to figure this amongst ourselves. That's actually what happened.
So the states are rolled out the plan, Roland. Did they not?
No.
Did the states roll out the plan?
No, the states, no. The states said, federal government, where is the national plan? Donald Trump was like, yo, this on y'all. And the states then, different states and regions got together and said, since he is not going to lead, we have...
Listen to you.
No. But you said, they then said, we...
Listen to you, bro.
No, you just said something that's just factually incorrect. You said the states rolled their plan out. The states rolled their plan out after the federal government refused to implement a national plan. They had no choice. And the problem was, it wasn't all states. Most of your southern states were like, nope, no to mask mandates. Nope, we're not going to shut everything down. Nope, we're not going to do widespread testing because they were all following Donald Trump's lead.
Correct.
So what happened? In May...
Here's my thing. If y'all have all the answers, let me put you in contact with some folks. Because y'all have all the answers.
No.
And if y'all got all the answers, y'all been keeping them to yourself.
No, actually.
Let me put you in contact with some folks.
Actually, the people you want to put us in.
Y'all got all the answers. These people don't know what they're doing.
Actually, the people you want to put us in contact with ain't listening to their own experts.
Listen,
I'm trying to put you in contact because y'all got all the answers.
Doesn't know what Governor DeSantis doesn't know what he's doing.
All the answers.
Hold on. Derek, in May, Ron DeSantis stood in front of the media outside of the White House with Vice President Mike Pence and wagged his finger, and y'all said we were going to see spikes. And y'all said we were going to see deaths. And he was going on and on and on. He said, we haven't seen none of that. Y'all owe me an apology. 4 weeks later, spikes. Deaths, skyrocketing, and then it was
let me throw out a date. In January, the president shut down travel from Europe.
Actually, he didn't.
Joe Biden said he was a xenophobe.
Actually, he didn't.
Remember that? Nancy Pelosi said, "Come on down to China."
No, Derek. Let me also give you a fact. Donald Trump gave an interview. Derek, let me help you. Donald Trump gave an interview on CNBC. He said there's one person from China with it in America. A week later, he said, a week later, Donald Trump said, we have 15 cases in America. We'll soon be down to 0. That actually came out of his mouth. Right now, Derek, we have 152,000 dead.
Okay.
Well, it's
there. Y'all got all the answers.
Rob, go ahead.
Hold on a second, Derek. We're not saying we have all the answers. We can just tell, we know it's Friday. We know it's Friday. We know some certain facts. And, no matter how much you might want to defend somebody because they're from your party, this guy is not doing a good job.
I'm not defending anyone, Ron.
Hold on.
I'm not defending anyone.
Hold on. Relax. All I'm saying is Trump. Wait a minute. Trump has done not only a bad job, he's done a horrible job. He's both incompetent and corrupt. And now he's put people's lives at risk just because he wanted to prove a political point. Honestly, had he been a normal president, he probably would have had a chance to pivot from this and show some leadership. A normal president would have taken the reins, would have said, this is our national response. He refused to do that. And then you have governors like Governor DeSantis, which he said we're going to be you guys were saying that we were going to have all these deaths, just like Roland said. They have surpassed New York, surpassed them. We have full leaders. We have the guy, the governor of Georgia, who is trying to get rid of mask mandates just to look good for Trump. That's stupid. That's not. And so I want to say this: we do have a Republican governor here in Ohio who has rejected what Trump has done. He's not been perfect, but he's tried to actually go for the evidence. Here in Ohio, he's done that.
Same as a Republican governor in Maryland, Larry Hogan, because you have.
So it's not Republican. It's common sense.
Right. But that's it. Right. In fact, the governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey, She said, no, we're going to have a mask mandate. We're going to close businesses down.
Y'all validated my point. Why is it got to be political? That's all I was saying.
Because
because why?
Because
why it got to be political every time it's somebody else's mouth?
Because most of the stupid people who are making decisions are Republicans.
And they put us in this position. Let me say this, because hey, Derek.
Rob, 20 seconds, next story, go.
I'll be very quick. Like, wearing a mask became political because Trump said, I'm not going to go out and wear a mask. And then suddenly he wears a mask and now it's saving people's lives. Like, he should have done that from the beginning. It shouldn't be political. This is stupid.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends. Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.